is the story of poker, or rather, one man's poker face. To set the little old scene for you, this story takes us to the exotic locale of Pleasanton, California. Wow, naming it that, it's like they wanted something bad to happen. And it did. See, one young fella, he loved playing poker, and he loved it so much he did it professionally. Probably shouldn't, because it turned out he wasn't very good. And so to get out of this problem, he made some even bigger mistakes. They always do. Keep digging, that'll help. But does it ever for people in my stories? Let's give it a go. So to begin, let's talk pleasantly about Pleasanton. It's in Central California, the city of planned progress, it goes by. So you know what that means. Either they picked the most boring city motto ever, or the mayor's a robot.
It's very historic. It hasn't lost its character.
It's an eclectic architecture, but it's old-fashioned. You feel like you've stepped into a town of 50 years ago, what little towns used to be like.
Actually, the entire city seems kind of robotic. It's where the headquarters of a load of companies with vague-ass names are located. It's very wealthy and safe. Even the name, Pleasanton, seems like a machine-picked name. About 80,000 souls live there. Or rather, should I say, heartless machines praying to the cold god of technology, Technos. The average home is over $1 million, and the reviews of the town on niche.com couldn't be more suspicious. It's a town of robots. I really love living in Pleasanton. It's a well-off town with amazing people, and is very clean. Then some ones and zeros. Overall, it's a great city to live and raise a family in. Who says those things about where they live? Okay, so I've decided it's not a real town, the internet has become sentient and is bullshitting me. Now, let's get to some people, good ones, who lived there. And that's the Shearer family, living in the hoity-toity, not my words, but I won't rat them out, country club neighborhood of Castlewood. They made up of parents, or rather grandparents, Ernie and his wife Charlene. And their children, all grown up, Ernie the Turd, or Skip as he rather went by, I'd go by that too, and his sister Catherine. The family were close-knit, they regularly went on holidays and did all the stuff together, even as the family grew, and Skip and Catherine had families of their own. Skip marrying a woman named Robin and having a son. Ernie number 3 was a professional poker player by trade, much like his dad, Ernie Jr., who was his senior. He also played poker a lot when he wasn't doing real estate or involved in politics. Ernie the Turd also had a son named Ernie. Lads, there are other names than Ernie. We need to stop with this same name business because it's pissing everybody off, as you can tell. It was the family business, gambling, and winning. Ernie's gotta earn it. I just invented that, but feel free to use it. Ernie was a pretty good poker player. That was his life. He went to college, he had studied economics, but then he left that whole life behind him to play cards for a living, and he was good at it. He had a good, ability to read people. He could read them like a painting. It was in March 2008 that the Shearers were going to go on one of their big family holidays that they regularly went on together. You had Ernie Jr., you had... It's confusing even me not telling the story. You had Ernie Jr., you had his wife, Charlene, and then their children, Catherine and Ernie the Turd, who went by Skip. I'm going to call him Skip from now on. They were going to Hawaii, and that's when our story takes place, right smack dab in the middle of March 2008. The Ides of March, by the way, so that's like a sign right there. Coinky dink. I don't know. As the holiday approached, daughter Catherine was unable to get through to her parents, Ernie and Charlene. Like, she called them, yeah, no answer, straight to voicemail. The next day, ditto. In fact, this went on for such a few days, and it's like, alright, we're supposed to be going on holidays together, you might want to pick up. Eventually, she rang her brother, Skip, and was like, have you heard from him? No. Eventually, calls were made to the country club, and a grim discovery was made on the 14th of March.
We need emergency, we need everybody now.
What kind of a problem?
I don't know.
Inside the Shearer home, the Castlewood Country Club in Pleasanton, lay the bodies of Ernie and Charlene. The smell was quite strong from even outside the home. They had been there for some time. At least 4 to 5 days. They both had been bludgeoned, stabbed, and their throats sliced open to the bone. It looked like Charlene had gotten the worst of it, too. Both had defensive wounds, and looked like they had fought, and fought hard. The house was in a state, blood pretty much everywhere. Now, based on text messages, calls when they were last seen, and the newspapers that were lying outside, it's believed they were murdered probably on the night of March the 7th, early hours March the 8th. Who would do such a thing in a fancy, upscale, exclusive neighborhood? That was the ultimate question.
On the 14th of March, about 12:30, the Sheriff's Office received a call from Castlewood Country Club in regards to a body that one of their workers had found. After getting an inquiry from a daughter of one of the possible victims, the worker from Castlewood looked into one of the windows, saw the male subject who now today has been positively identified as Ernest F. Shear. This is in fact a double homicide. It is not a murder-suicide. Those of you who have been up in that area, there's only one way in Castlewood, and there's only one way out pretty much to get down to the main road. That could be a huge factor for us in attempting to solve this double homicide.
The front door of the house was unlocked, and there was no sign of forced entry at all. The house had been ransacked upstairs, but not downstairs. But though kind of contradicting the ransacking was that nothing had been stolen, even almost $10,000 in cash Ernie had sticking out of his pocket. He had just won at cards around the time he was murdered. Jewelry, gold rings, everything was still there. So then it led the police to believe that either A, the killer was looking for something specific, or B, it was made to look like the killer was searching for something, ransacking the place, without actually taking anything. They did a shit job if that's what they're trying to make it look like. There was also a very specific pattern of bloody shoe prints, not leading out of the house, just circling the bodies and then vanishing. Weird. And it looked like our ghost wore Nike sneakers. They had the size and the exact make. But again, it looked staged, like someone had put on sneakers, walked around in blood, and then took them off again. It seemed apparent that the victims knew who did this and had let them into the house. The children were looked at first, Skip and Catherine. Now, Catherine, she lived in Utah, so this is about the point usually in my stories where I would say she did it, because Utah tends to be pretty high up there when it comes to, But no, she didn't. She was confirmed to be at home when the killings occurred. Now, Skip couldn't be excluded from the investigation quite so easily. And the day after the bodies were discovered and he was alerted to his parents in a brutal murder, he was, quote, licking his chops to get his grubby mitts on their will.
Just go in there. Okay. If you sit right there for me, I would hope that you would understand that I've been, honest with you, and I would just appreciate, the same thing from you, and then we can go on to the important thing about finding out who killed your parents. Right. What I mean? Once we can either rule you in or rule you out as a suspect, then we can move on to other people.
He said that around the time of the murder, he was home in Brea, a city about 6 hours south of Pleasanton.
I know you're interested in Fridays, probably that's what you're getting up to. Friday, I left Las Vegas around 12:30, I want to say, in the afternoon. There will be credit card transactions and phone records of me driving from Las Vegas back to Brea, California. I got to my home, I want to say around 5 o'clock in the evening. I was exhausted. I was waking up the next day to play bridge with my grandfather. I had to be at his house at 7 a.m., which meant I had to wake up at like 5:30. So I got inside, I crashed on the sofa, fell asleep, I turned on TV, fell asleep, I was dead tired. Woke up a couple hours later, brushed my teeth, took a shower, watched a movie, and went to bed.
But he did say he was home alone. His wife and his son were out of town. But he was like, check my phone records, you guys. Come on. You can clearly see where I was and have been. So
There'll be phone records that I was in my house at 6 a.m. because I turned my phone on at 6. So I was at my house. You'll be able to track me to my house until 5 p.m. on Friday night, and then you'll be able to track that I was at my house at 6 a.m. 13 hours later. It's not the strongest alibi in the world, but drive time from my house to my parents' house was roughly 6.5, 7 hours. So it's kind of unrealistic for me to have driven from my house all the way up to their house, killed them, ransacked the house, drive all the way back, and then go play bridge with my grandfather. And we almost won the bridge tournament in Escondido, so.
In April 2006, a woman named Adrienne Solomon visited Las Vegas for a business conference. She traveled a lot for work dealing in medical supplies, and during the trip she decided to play some cards. Bet high, win low, that's my motto and I'm sticking to it. Just because it hasn't worked yet doesn't mean it's a bad idea. Wait, what? While she was playing, she turned to her side, and sitting there at the very same table was our Skippy, Ernie the Turdy. He impressed her. After all, he was a winner. You know, he was the high rollers club table. You know, he got all the comp shit, and they fell for each other. They began a long distance relationship. She lived in North Carolina. He lived in Brea, but you know, they would travel around the world together. You know, they would meet each other all around the place. They really fell hard for each other to the point that marriage was on the poker cards. Now you might be thinking, that's weird. I thought I said he was married and had a son who was 3 years old, also named Ernie. He did. He'd been married for 9 years, in fact, to Robin. He had a hard time keeping it in his pants. He also had a hard time keeping money in his pants.
Don't get mad at me.
Not at all.
You're hiding something. And I don't think it's the fact that you're hiding that you went and killed your dad. Maybe it's you were somewhere else you weren't supposed to be.
I'm really...
I'm asking you. I'm just asking you. But if just, I've been doing this a long time, and I'm just
Sure.
wondering if you were doing something else and you don't want to tell us about it.
Question.
I'm not trying to hide anything.
It's just like when you throw down the poker hand. Even though you played it with good poker face, either you have a royal flush or you don't, or whatever. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because the cards speak for themselves.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right.
See, Ernie the Turd was often prowling around. He was always on the hunt. Friends in Vegas would say that over the previous 3 years, they'd seen him with 10 to 15 different women. He actually had quite the poker face, in fact, and the police were learning quite a bit about him. Skip owed his dad, Ernie Jr., quite a lot of money, and I'm talking over $600,000. He'd gotten a loan from his dad to help him buy a house, and they had this repayment plan set up. That loan caused a lot of tension between Skip and his parents, especially his mother, who happened to have a very gruesome death, even worse than her husband's. She didn't approve of him playing poker and doing it for a living. She was quite religious. She was probably right though, because Skip owed a lot of money to his parents, and he wasn't really very good at the old repayments plan. He also was in the shit. I can't even talk, I'm so upset. In the shit when it came to his gambling debt. He had been a professional poker player, and he had been winning, but not lately. He had been losing a lot, and every time he lost, he would, the next time he was gambling, he would put down even bigger and bigger bets, losing more and more, always trying to, get back, just one more hand, that kind of shit. He owed about 90 grand to loan sharks and 20 grand on his credit card, so altogether he was owing over $700,000, and he wasn't making that back anytime soon. Another thing the police became aware of was CCTV showing the night of the murders a red convertible driving into Castlewood, leaving 4 hours later. Skip owned a car like that. So the police learned he was quite the hound dog, unbeknownst to his wife, so he lied quite easily. He owed money, a lot of money to the victims, which now he didn't have to pay back, but he also owed a lot of money to other people, which means he would need money. And then he also owned a red convertible car that was seen, around the time of the murders at the crime scene. But when the police went to confront him with more questions, hey, riddle me this. It turned out he had done a legger. He told his wife,
"I'll catch you later, babe. I'll see you in another life."
Said the same to his son, I guess. And then he left. So the police were even more interested in him now, and it turned out he left for God knows where in his dad's car, leaving behind that red convertible. The police searched it, and they found absolutely nothing, which made them just more suspicious, because it turns out that only a couple of days before, he had the entire car detailed inside and out, removing any trace of, anything. The shoe prints left at the scene, very particular and laid out on purpose. They were size 12s, and the police thought they were there to throw them off. Skip wore a size 10, and if he had done it, maybe he had left the bloody footprints attempting to throw them off the scent. Couldn't have been me. Doesn't fit. Well, maybe scent wasn't something he was too worried about, because while he was traveling across the country, he was placing Craigslist ads looking for women in Vegas, Portland, New York. I am really just looking for someone that is intelligent and can hold an interesting conversation over a glass of wine. If we hit it off, maybe we can have dinner. I know Las Vegas and have lots of great places to go and things to do. He was now saying his name was Bill Franks, which is like the fakest name I've ever heard. And he was an author who was writing a book about this guy's parents who were murdered, and then he had to go on the run. The police were tracking him as he went across the country while they were getting their ducks in a row. And Skip's wife, Robin, she was now finding out quite a lot about her husband. She had no idea, obviously, about all the affairs he had been having on her time. And then also, about how shit in the debt, like he was. I guess they both were. She was totally oblivious. He was hiding it all from her. He had a poker face. But now she was pretty furious and decided to help out the police by calling them and lying to Skip, saying that they could see his face in the CCTV footage of the red convertible driving into Castlewood.
To a studio, like Disney or something, it was enhanced. And it looks like you in your car, and they're basically saying that you were there Friday night. Were you in the Bay Area on Friday night? Because I thought you were driving back home. And there's this video that they have, and it clearly looks like it's your car. Hello?
What else can you tell me about the video? I'm here, I'm just thinking. Is it a video like from somebody's house in Castlewood? Is it from a gas station? I mean, what kind of a video is it?
No, it's going into the country club area.
Going into the country club area?
Mm-hmm. And it looks like your car, and it looks like you in it.
You can see the face of the driver?
Yes, were you there? And if you were, you have a good explanation as to why you were there. Are you lying to me?
No, I understand you're asking why you're asking the question. I mean, obviously, the police are listening to this phone call, I'm assuming. Right?
I guess. I have no idea.
The police believed that his parents were not really asking anymore, but demanding repayments be made on the loan they had given him. This was in March 2008. The economy was kind of... They also learned he'd asked a friend to buy a gun for him not long before his parents were murdered. The friend turned him down because that's illegal. And remember, he said that the night his parents died, they could just track his phone. You could see where he was. He was in Brea all night.
There would be phone records that I was in my house at 6 a.m. because I turned my phone on at 6. It's not the strongest alibi in the world.
Well, actually, they couldn't because his phone had been turned off the entire time. He had probably broken in, chased his parents around their own home, brutally beaten and stabbed them to death. Now, there's a couple of reasons I gave you already, but the biggest one was the one he was licking his chops for. Upon their parents' death, both Skip and Catherine would receive equally, their parents' estate, which was quite a bit because, as I said, Ernest, the junior, he was into real estate a lot. So there was, Skip and Catherine would have received a couple of million each upon their parents' death. But one stipulation that was in Ernest Jr. and Charlene's will was that they would only receive their inheritance when they reached 30 years of age. Skip was 29. He was arrested in February 2009. But through all this, there's no real evidence it was actually Skip. It was just a lot of maybes, he could've, circumstantial shite. Until this picture was examined. This was a year and a half after the murders. Skip was in jail and trial was fast approaching, and the prosecution was looking for that last piece of the puzzle. Final thing, that would make everything click. And it was this piece of paper. It was right beside the dad, and it was a warranty for a baseball bat. But the baseball bat wasn't found anywhere in the house, but now they did know, okay, well that was the murder weapon that was used to beat them, but they never actually found the weapon itself. The warranty was for a Nike baseball bat. So, did Skip buy the bat? Well, there's a town near the California border in Nevada called Primm, and in that town there was a Nike outlet store. And didn't Skip happen to drive to and from, he drove through that area a lot on his way to Vegas. And on the day of the murders, someone bought Nike sneakers, a baseball bat, and gloves. The fact that the warranty card was left there, how'd you just drop it? What the hell? He went on trial in late 2010. It did not go well for Skip. He was found guilty on both counts of first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to life without parole. So ends the story of Skippy, a guy who got far too used to the flashy lifestyle gambling gave him that he really just got on a look, because at the very end it turned out his poker face was complete shite. He wanted to speed up the old inheritance malarkey, and then speed out of town. Didn't do a very good job though, advertising everywhere he went. And like if he had gotten that inheritance, he probably would have just pissed it away regardless. So what did we learn today, kids? Well, I would say, avoid murdering your parents if you can help it. That's a key. That's a big one. That's a biggie. Then also probably don't gamble so much you get into such a deep debt you have to murder anyone, I'd say, to get out of it. And mostly don't be a turd, like Ernie the turd. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this old video with Misha. Here, go on. I'll see you as always real soon.